why is Bayer Corporation the rat of the week?
Internal documents show that after this company positively, absolutely knew that they had a medication that was infected with the AIDS virus, they took the product off the market in the U.S. and then they dumped it in France, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The medicine's called Factor 8. It was an injection medicine that was used for hemophiliacs, mostly children. Children had been born with an incurable disease.
Hold on, Mike. So, hold on. So you're telling me that Bayer knew that this drug was infected with the AIDS virus, they yanked it from the market in America, and then they dumped it in markets overseas?
They had to figure out a way, Joe, to make a profit on a product that they could not sell in America. So they made a huge profit. They dropped the product in Japan, Spain, and France. By the way, Joe, government officials in France that allowed that to happen actually had to go to prison for it. In America, not one corporate executive for this company has been indicted or even criminally investigated by our Justice Department.
But this is interesting because, once again, this bird flu, okay, was sent out in a batch of ordinary human H3N2 flu. That's like the, gee, you're going to get your flu shot. And what's really interesting is they sent this out so that they could make flu shots, so they could make vaccines. So here they had, okay, bird flu, which if humans get it, by the way, is very deadly, like 60%, death rate and stuff. And it was mixed in with another what? With another flu, that's the average flu, and that's the one that's easily aerosolized, and everybody gets it. Oh, we got your flu shot this year? So anyway, who did they send it to? They sent it to people to make flu shots, vaccinations. And it gets rid this. You think I'm kidding? You think I'm kidding? Check the India Times. I'm going to go into the, the Canadian press had this also. But okay, so the ferrets or whatever in the sample died and stuff. Marcus Rain out of Baxter says, well, no one was infected because H3N2 was handled at a high level of containment. Well, it's funny, these are supposed to be level 3 biolabs that they do this. And isn't it a coincidence that we're all of a sudden, back because of Bush, building all these bioweapons labs, biolabs, level 3 labs? Isn't Cambridge fighting to get one? Remember Boston were going to be the biotechnology thing? So they're building all these labs, and all of a sudden it just escaped, got out, oops. Okay? Meanwhile, FEMA's storing coffins. They're asking people in Illinois or whatever, Indiana, where can we bury a bunch of bodies if Chicago got real sick? You've got Zbigniew Brzezinski, okay, the old Secretary of State who's now behind Obama and stuff, telling you that, hey, these cities are going to get nuked or there's going to be a bio attack, okay, in a CFR meeting, and you people haven't put the pieces together. You think they love you. I'm here to tell you, it may not be the case. So, anyway, this virus mix-up is extremely important. Okay? It's not an accident. And the reason it's not an accident is because this came out of a level 3 lab. Well, there's certain procedures. So it's either this Baxter company doesn't do the procedures, okay, to contain this stuff, and or it was done on purpose. And whether it was an individual or it was the company, the question you got to ask is, haven't we seen movies where they've done this before? This is not a new idea. And what if this pandemic flu hit and stuff? Who'd be making the money? Why is FEMA training for this constantly? If they're not, once again, if people behind the scenes aren't considering this, and not just considering it, but it's almost like conditioning you to be ready for it. So here we go. Here's a Czech newspaper, okay, questioning a shocking discovery of vaccines contaminated with the deadly avian flu virus, which were distributed to 18 countries by an American company, Baxter, part of Bayer, okay, were part of a conspiracy to provoke a pandemic. Now, that's just a Czech newspaper, and they're wondering, hey, how could they ship this stuff out for people to make vaccines out of that actually have the bird flu in it? Can you believe this? Okay. The company that released the contaminated flu virus was from a plant in Austria, confirmed Friday that an experimental product contained live H5N1 avian flu viruses. Folks, when they make vaccine stuff, they should have already radiated this to kill all the live viruses and stuff. But they didn't. Gee, these are like, how can this happen? 1 in a million, 1 in a million, one. It's too coincidental. Maybe, once again, maybe you're only going to get 5 frames of what happens when the avian flu hits. Remember 9/11 stuff. So anyway, as this was a criminal negligence or just an attempt to provoke a pandemia using vaccination against flu to spread the disease. This isn't fiction. This is fact, folks. This happened. Okay? Should I read from you from the Canadian press? Here's the thing from the Canadian press article or whatever, that the mixing process called reassortment is one of the 2 ways pandemic viruses are created. Hello? Okay? Okay, there can be little doubt, therefore, that this was a deliberate attempt to weaponize H5N1 virus to its most potent, extreme, and distribute it via a conventional flu vaccines to the population who would then infect others. Devastating degree of the disease went airborne. Folks, get ready. This is the kind of stuff they pull. You know, they said 9/11 was by a bunch of, Muslim or Islamic fundamentalists. They lie. They've got no proof. Okay, they got no evidence. And when every time everybody looks at it scientifically, they find out they're lying to you about 9/11. You think they're telling you the truth when this pandemic comes? So when they come and they tell you it's time to have your daughter or your kids, or you all got to go get your shot, I'd ask a question before I took it. And I'll tell you this right now, while I sit in this chair, I'll give them a shot before they give me a shot. Okay, there's one for you. Anyway, vaccines as biological weapons. There's a popular medical thriller novel in which the global pandemic is intentionally set off by an evil plot designed to reduce the human population. Oh, remember the Georgia Guidestones? Do you remember? Oh, let's reduce the Earth's population. Okay, in a book, nefarious drug company inserts a live avian flu virus, how interesting, okay, into vaccine materials that are distributed to countries around the world to be injected into patients and flu shots. As flu shots. These patients then become carriers of the highly virulent strains of avian flu, which go on to infect the world population and cause widespread death. Now, that's just a book. And you say, gee, that's fiction. Well, I just showed you. It's fact now. They're doing it to you. It's time for you to wake up. Hey, you men out there, grow some legs, grow some damn testicles, okay? Start standing up for your liberty and your rights, okay? Don't get taken by these stinking globalists. Protect your family. Thanks for watching. This was The Real Story. Don't touch the dial. The show's not over. When I grew up as a kid, I knew a guy who rebuilt Austin Healey's, and he had an overdrive. Yeah, that's right, a car. Overdrive. Well, guess what? I know a broadcaster. His name's Alex Jones with InfoWars. He goes into overdrive. Well, he's not going alone anymore. We're going into overdrive at The Real Story. That's right. There's more to tell you. That whole, it just goes on and on. So, what do we have? We have more news for you. It's rather interesting. Of all the news, let's start off with Newsweek. I thought it was an interesting cover. I showed it to you 2 weeks ago. But now that I've, got to see the cover and, here, folks, this is for you. Do you see what it said on the cover of Newsweek? Here we have the cover of the magazine Newsweek. And what does it say? We're all socialists now. So now we've given the Treasury Secretary the power to nationalize any business, not just banks. And we're bailing out all these banks, yet our farmers get nothing, our fishermen get nothing, our cattlemen get nothing. Yeah, you're getting nothing, but gee, AIG and Bernie Madoff, they're getting plenty. And when the Congress says, hey, SEC, how is it you let Madoff do that? They say, whoa, 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 like presidential thing, you can't talk about that. Oh, wait, national security. You don't believe me? Take a look at the congressional record, okay? That's what the SEC told them. The SEC, bunch of criminals. D.C., District of Criminals. All right, so once again, what did we tell you? We told you, when I say told you, let's ask you. Yeah, how did Ari Fleischer and the White House know to get on Cipro weeks before the anthrax attacks? Remember 9/11? Remember anthrax? Yeah. How did they know that? And now we're being told that they put live bird flu virus in with the flu virus that they send to the companies, okay, to manufacture the vaccinations. People, do you understand what that means? Do you understand that these people want to reduce the Earth's population? Do you understand who would make money if that actually made it? Yeah, who are the people that would be selling all the antivirus stuff? Do you understand that Big Pharma is not out for your benefits? Do you understand that most of them get their, roots, if you're falling back through all the purchases and acquisitions, back to those wonderful German companies that during the Second World War produced what? What did IG Farben produce? What do you know about all this stuff? Have you ever bothered to ask questions? We're in overdrive now. Why? Because you need to wake up, people. Okay? We've got crooks in our government. We've got crooks, the District of Criminals. They're stealing from you constantly. Okay, once again, all these, quote, stimuluses are the opposite. They're raiding the Treasury for everything they can while they set up a police state. While FEMA tells you we've got to find places to have mass graves. Huh? While FEMA is buying coffins. What? In advance for what? A party they're planning? Okay? You saw how good FEMA works. You remember Katrina? And in Katrina, what did they do? They practiced gun confiscation. When I say practice, heck, it wasn't practice. They did gun confiscation. Don't believe me?